All right, this is a special video for you guys. What we're going to do here is talk about the three biggest fundamental mistakes that almost all beginning lacrosse players and even a lot of experienced lacrosse players are making. These are the things that are going to drive your coaches crazy if they see you doing it. They're going to be hounding you on the field. So let's fix them now before you even get into lacrosse practice or lacrosse game. The three things we're going to touch on: one catching tip, one throwing tip, and one ground ball tip. If you fix these three things, your coach is going to notice pretty quickly in practice. First, we're going to go over throwing. The major mistake that players make when they start learning to throw is they have T-Rex arms, right? Like a Tyrannosaurus Rex. When they throw, their elbows are pinned at their sides, their hands are in tight in front of their chest, and they throw like this. The problem with this is we don't get any power. There's no rotation, there's no power behind that pass, and the ball ends up going low. A lot of times it goes right into the ground, but it won't make it to your teammate. It's going to hit the ground before it gets to them. So what we tell our players is don't have T-Rex arms, have orangutan arms, okay? If you think of an orangutan, long arms. That's how we want to look when we're throwing in lacrosse. Don't want them in close. We want long arms out away from our bodies so we can rotate and create some power behind our pass. Number one tip with throwing. Just to give you an idea what I'm talking about, a lot of you have played other throwing sports before. You've played baseball, you've played softball, or at the very least, you've picked up a rock and thrown it, or thrown something. If I gave you a baseball, a softball, or a rock, or gave you something and told you to throw it, would you throw it like this? No, you would throw it with your arm out, hand back by your ear, just like we were all taught to throw a baseball, a football, or a softball. So, when you pick up a lacrosse stick, you shouldn't have your hands out in front of you like this either. We're going to throw from the same spot we would a baseball, a football, or a softball. Arms out, hand back by your ear. If you took away my lacrosse stick right now, I could just as easily be throwing a football or a baseball, but I'm holding a lacrosse stick. So just think back to other sports that you've played before. With catching, biggest mistake new players make and experienced players is snapping at the ball. That means as the pass is coming to me, I am coming out, pushing my top hand out, and snapping, cradling around the ball as I catch. Ball hits my pocket and I cradle around it. Now as a new player, that might seem like an easy way to catch, but the problem is you get a little older, a little more developed, and passes are coming in faster. If you try and snap at that ball as you catch it, the ball is going to bounce off the inside plastic here. You're going to end up dropping a lot of passes if you develop that habit of snapping at the ball. So what we want to do instead is pretend it's not a lacrosse ball. Pretend like it's an egg, or pretend like it's a water balloon. If I threw a water balloon to you, you wouldn't come out and catch it like that. You would catch it and cushion it in soft. And that's what we want to do in lacrosse as well. When I catch, my wrist doesn't turn. I don't cradle at all. My stick face stays open to my target. I simply catch and cushion the ball back to my shoulder. Catch, cushion it back. The first few times you try it, it's going to be a little tough. It takes a little bit to work on that coordination of catching and cushioning the ball in. But once you get it, you're going to catch a lot more passes than you will if you develop the habit of snapping at the ball. Last tip, ground balls. The biggest mistake that players make on ground balls is reaching for the ground ball. And it's a little trick that our minds play on us. When there's a ground ball, there's players from the other team swinging their stick at your stick, trying to stick check you, maybe giving you a push, trying to body check you and keep you away from the ball. So our brain tells us when we approach a lacrosse ball, our brain tells us, hey, just kind of reach for it from kind of farther back. That way you're not going to get hit. But that actually doesn't work. Reaching for a ground ball and kind of hesitating back like this is what is more likely to get you stick checked or body checked. So the number one tip for ground balls is get close to that ground ball. Don't reach for it like this. Get right down to it. Lower your center of gravity. I'm a lot harder to stick check and body check when I'm down crouched like this. Scoop up that ground ball and run right out of it. If you stay low, get close to the ground, you don't have to worry about the stick checks and the body checks. If you try and pick up a ground ball like this, you're going to be in a little bit of trouble. So 3 huge keys for beginning and experienced players to work on: orangutan arms, not alligator arms. Don't snap at that ball, cushion it in like it's a water balloon or an egg, and never reach for a ground ball. Get right down to it.